On this lesson, we're going to go to Illustrator and begin working on our sketch, or over our sketch, the sketch that we just did in Photoshop. So you're going to go File, and then you're going to go Place, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-P and bring your cat sketches and just click. Now you could put it right there on your canvas, and then you're going to go to your Layers window, and if you don't see your Layers window, you're going to go to Window, Layers, or press F7. Then you're going to double click on your layer, on this white part of the layer where is this little thumbnail, and here you could name your layer you want to be organized. So for example, something like sketch, and then hit on this check box to template. And what this is going to do is going to dim your images to 50%. So you're going to hit OK, and you can see how now your images are dim, and also your layer is locked, so you cannot accidentally move it or do something with it. So we're going to create a new layer. And now we're going to begin working on the cats. We're going to pick 2 of them to work on this course, but feel free to pick all of them or keep working on them to experiment and get new things. So I'm going to go to this cat, and I'm going to be basically working on basic shapes. So I'm going to go to my ellipse tool, or press L on my keyboard, press Shift while I'll create this to make a circle. Remove the fill, because at the moment we don't need it, and let's just work with the strokes. So we're going to move that one a little bit there. And we're going to keep working. Again, little ellipses for the eyes. Just while dragging, press Alt and Shift so you make a copy. And let's keep working on that. Now for the nose, I'm going to use a polygon. And you could use the up and down arrow keys to select the number of sides. So I'm gonna go and just go down until I get the 3, and just scale it a little bit. But I could use my direct selection tool to just move one of the anchor points. I think that works fine. You can group your eyes, and I would recommend that you make the habit of grouping by go to Object, Group, or you could also go to Compound Path, Make. To Object, Compound Path, Make, or press the shortcut Ctrl-8, and that way you can see that now on the Appearance window. And if you don't see that window, you can go to Window, Appearance, or use Shift F6. You can see how now it's a compound path. So you should always either use the compound path or group the elements that are going to be sharing the same color. That way you are going to end up with less layers. So you can go here to Window, Align. And we're going to be aligning the objects, so we're going to select both of these. Select again on the circle to make it a key object. You could see how the outline changed a little bit, and then just keep aligning them. Now I'm going to go to my pen tool, press P, and make a line that is like this, a little bit curved. I'm going to swap this because I only need the stroke and not the fill. And you could go to your direct selection tool and keep improving the curve until you are satisfied with the result. And once you have done this, all you have to do is go transform, transform, reflect. And then a window like this is going to appear. You can have a little preview and make sure that you're reflecting on your vertical axis. Now, as I just hit OK, I made a mistake right there, so I'm gonna go all this again. Make sure that you hit copy so you get a copy. Now you're gonna move this. Again, remember my advice, all of them, just group them. So go to Object Group, and be sure to keep aligning your objects. Now let's work with the eyebrows. So I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, press M on my keyboard. Let's move it a little bit there and rotate it just by going to one of the corners. Let's go right click, transform, reflect, and make sure that I make a copy on the vertical axis. Again, group these 2, Ctrl G, and make sure that you align them to your main circle. Now I'm going to work with the ears. So I'm going to go what I just did. So click on that one, and find the polygon tool. But you could also use the star, if you see, and you could also choose the number of sides by going with the up and arrow keys. So let's make a copy by pressing Alt and Shift and drag it. And I'm just going to move it a little bit there so I get more both of my triangles, and transform, reflect, make a copy. And now move them like there. And as I said before, you should be able to group everything that goes together. In this case, I'm gonna group just like that, just so I can align them, and then ungroup it, and then just group the shapes that are going to be sharing the same color. Okay, so I'm gonna keep working on the rest of my cat. First, I'm gonna do the whiskers. So again, go to my pen tool or press P on my keyboard. Just click and then make another point while clicking and dragging to have a little curve. And now I could drag in the whiskers, but I think it would be better if I have the same ones just on the other direction. So I'm gonna use my direct selection tool to move them a little bit. Then I'm gonna select both of them, transform, reflect, and make sure that I make a copy, and just move them to the right. Just group them again, Ctrl G, or go to Object, Group, and then make sure that you align them to your big circle. Now we're gonna keep working, building these different shapes. So I'm gonna go to my pen tool or press P. I'm gonna make a point here, another point right there on the middle, or kind of on the middle, and then just make another point here. And this is going to be my body. Then I'm gonna make a line and just move it a little bit. Now I'm gonna go to my window, and then Pathfinder, or you could use Shift Ctrl F9. I'm gonna select both my shapes and go to this third option, which is called Divide. When I do that, you can see that I have a group, so I'm gonna ungroup it, and now I have both different shapes. I'm gonna go here and work on my hand just with my pen tool. Remember, you can go and select the pen tool by going to a tools panel, or you can press P on your keyboard. Now that you have created that, you're gonna close the shape, and I'm gonna work on the other hand again with the same technique, just using the pen tool and going around using the sketch that I had created. You could always go with your direct selection tool or press A on your keyboard to refine your shape in case you think something is not working. Like for example, here I'm moving the size of the fingers. Now I'm going to go to my pen tool, make a point here, make another point here, and make another point here. And I'm going to do the same here, and you can see how I'm following that line on my sketch. And I'm going to select both of those shapes and go again to Divide. And that way I can have that part of the sweater and that part of my hand. So I'll do the same with the other side, and then ungroup them. Now I'm going to create a leg, again with my pen tool, just click and drag. That's all you have to do. Once you have one of the legs, I'm going to go again, right click, transform, reflect, and make sure that I make a copy. And just move it a little bit, select both of them, and group them, and align them to my body. Now I'm gonna do the tail, so I'm gonna go to my pen tool and just make a point, another point, and another point. And then I'm gonna select this line that I just created. And I could go to, if you don't see the stroke, you can go to Window, Stroke, or press Ctrl F10. And I'm gonna increase the weight to something like probably 10, and make sure that my caps are rounded. Now I'm gonna go here to my Tools panel and find this Width tool, or you could use Shift W. And all you have to do is click and drag a little bit to have different widths within your the stroke. So you can see how they have different weight depending on the place where you have that. So with this we have finished pretty much all of whatever cat is. So we're gonna add some color, and you can see here how I'm on the color window. And I just move it, and I am working right there on RGB. But if you click where all the colors are and press Shift, you can go to the HSB color mode, which is a hue, saturation, and play around with these values. So just move them around and get the color that you like. And also I'm seeing that I'm forgetting these lines that are right here. So I'm just gonna make shapes like this. I'm just gonna do one right here and another one here. Maybe at the moment you don't see why I'm doing this, but I intend to use them as masks on Illustrator, sorry, on Photoshop when we go back. So try to group, as I said, things that are going to be together, and then have them just there. Now I'm gonna keep adding color to the rest of my cat. And then I'm gonna go to the legs, and I want to make them a little bit darker, so I'm gonna increase the brightness, sorry, decrease the brightness actually, and a little bit play with the hue. And now I need this to be back, so I'm gonna go right click, arrange, send to back, or you could use the shortcut Ctrl Shift open bracket. I'm gonna use the same color, so I'm gonna use my eyedropper by clicking on it or going to I on my keyboard. Then do the same for this, but I'm gonna change the color to something kind of a yellowish more color, so something like that maybe. I'm gonna select both of them and send them to back by Ctrl Shift open bracket. I want to select my eyebrows, have them dark, maybe actually a little bit darker, so decrease the brightness. I'm going to use the same color with the nose, but I'm going to actually make it more like a dark brown and keep changing the colors. So remember that if there are shapes that you haven't grouped, try to group them and place them on the right position. So Ctrl Shift open bracket if you want to send something to back, Ctrl Shift close bracket if you actually want to send something to the front. You can see how those shapes that I created, I made them red. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure which are them. And here I'm going to click and I'm going to press Shift while I click, so I only get the color and not the appearance of the object. I'm going to go and select this color for the eyebrows, and I'm going to increase it actually a little bit, sorry, decrease the brightness. Then I'm going to go to weight, sort to stroke, and change the profile to this first one. So now instead of having the profile that we had before, I'm going to have a different one that on the edges it gets smaller. So something like maybe 3 points. Make sure that I may bring my nose to front, so arrange bring to front. Select all my whiskers, select that color, and you can do them like this, or you could play around a little bit, make them a little bit smaller. So now with this, you have pretty much built your shapes. So now all I have to do is select everything. And I'm going to actually change the color of this yellow a little bit. So select everything and then go to one of the corners, and while you click and drag, press Shift. Now you're going to kind of center it. It really doesn't matter because the arbor is going to get built around the cat. So now you could make little adjustments, like for example here I made the head a little bit bigger. And maybe the face a little bit smaller. Now I'm gonna select the sketch layer and actually delete it by clicking and dragging on the trash can. Then I'm gonna select my layer and go here and sequence them and take them outside that layer 2. Now you can see that this layer 2 is empty, so I can simply delete it because I don't need it. And now each piece is an individual layer. Then you're going to go to File, Export. Then you're going to go File, Export, Export As. And when you do that, you select Photoshop, and let's call this one Cat 1. A window like this is going to appear. And here you can make sure that the color mode is the same, that your resolution is high enough, that you write your layers, and then you simply hit OK. And with this, you have prepared your file for Photoshop.